Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hey, is this
All right.
Steve Brigner?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is True Crime Hot House calling you for an official interview. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I just wanted to ask you a few questions. Who was the first infamous killer you met in prison?
The first one that I got along with or that I just met in general?
Well, what about the first one you met in general?
I'd have to say Donald Harvey from Cincinnati. He was my next door neighbor for like 3 years.
And Donald Harvey, the angel of death, right?
Yeah. He was my walking partner. We walked every morning, drank coffee together for about 2 years.
Did you get along?
Yeah, we got along. He's an old man now, so I'm sure he's calmed down a lot, and he's been in prison for a while, but he still has some strange ways of thinking.
I heard through the rumor mill that he's gay. Is that true, false?
Yeah, that's true. They had a protective custody years ago in Warren Correctional Facility, and because he was a homosexual, his boyfriend broke up with him. This is a story that he told me and a couple other guys, that because he broke up with him, he got his hands on some fentanyl and was like, baby, I'll cook you something to eat, this and that. And the dude thought he was just trying to get back with him, at him. So he cooked him something to eat with a bunch in there, and dude damn near OD'd.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I heard a rumor that he was after TJ Lane. Is that true?
Almost all the fags were after TJ Lane. At first, he was good at resisting it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he was attacked by several inmates, and I think that's what made him gay.
So when you say he was attacked, you mean he was raped by several dudes?
Yeah, that's supposedly what happened. The guys were bragging about it and stuff, and he wouldn't say it happened, but I knew he was in a relationship with Clifford Opperud, the other guy he escaped with.
But let me ask you something, though. How did you meet TJ?
Met him the day he came through the door. I didn't know who the fuck he was, and everybody was on his dick. And then, at first, I'm not going to lie, I heard about a $50,000 reward and stuff, and I'm thinking, well, I'm just about to fuck this kid up and see if I can get some money out of it.
Right.
But then, I kind of got cool with the kid. He's all right. He's just confused and had a rough life.
Did you share a cell with him?
No, I never shared a cell with him. He lived a couple cells down once, and then he moved, but I never shared a cell with him, no.
So can I ask you, what was the reason he had you respond to his mail for him? I'm just curious.
Oh, well, that, I'm not going to lie, I know it makes him sound like a piece of shit, but me and another guy that was pursuing him came up with the idea that since he only gets a minimum amount of money from his grandmother and nobody else in his family, that he should just write back, have different ones of us write back. Mainly I wrote back because I counted a few people, and send them stuff. So he got like clothes boxes, food boxes, media time, anything that you didn't have to be on a visiting list to send.
So he basically got inmate packages and shit like that. Yeah. Okay.
He had like 5-6 pairs of shoes, 6-7 pairs of boots, all types of shit.
Were there any girls he was actually interested in or no?
Whichever one he was supposed to make it to pick him up. I really, to this day, I don't know who she is. That was the only person I knew he communicated with.
And when you refer to that person who was supposed to pick him up, you refer to his escape. He was supposed to have a fan meet him and get him and Clifford.
Yeah. They were.
She never showed.
Well, I don't know if they didn't just make it to where they were supposed to meet her, or she never showed, or what. But all that was supposed to have been already taken care of. So
after he was, assaulted, he was openly gay. He came out to, everyone.
Well, see, hold on a second. You got to understand. He told me that he, at the time of his imprisonment, he was still a virgin. He's never been intimate with a woman. So
right.
he he never got to pick what he liked.
Right. Well, how did he and Clifford get together? Clifford is like an older man, you know what I mean? How did the two connect? That's what I'm curious about.
I'm not really sure. Clifford's an old con man. I guess it clicked. I mean, maybe it's just, I'm not too familiar with the whole gay feelings and community and stuff, but I'm sure it's just like a male and a female that there's some sort of chemistry. You got younger chicks with older guys get married all the time, so maybe that's what it was. They just clicked emotionally.
Right.
I'm not sure.
I heard that Clifford wouldn't let anyone else near him, like any other guys. Is that true?
Nah, Clifford's a bitch. He can't stop nothing.
No, he can't.
No.
What about William Wills?
Are you talking Bruce?
No,
Lindsey Bruce?
I'm talking about TJ's old cellie, William Wills.
Oh, Willis.
Willis, yes, him.
Yeah, he's down in Lucasville right now.
I heard he got in some trouble for responding to TJ's mail.
I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
really don't know.
I guess he got thrown in the hole for it.
Yeah, they said something to me about it, but TJ covered up for me, so it was cool.
But you like TJ. I mean, as like a guy, like as a friend, right?
Yeah, I like the little guy. He, I spent many times before he got comfortable and stuff, but unfortunately, he claims he's never smoked weed on the street, so in the penitentiary, I smoke weed to be able to adjust to daily lifestyles.
Sure.
So I get him high all the time, and when I buy wine and stuff, he said he wanted to start drinking, and once, he just opened up to me, and I got to see past all the publicity and fake facade and see who TJ really was, and he ain't a bad kid.
Right, and he went through some hard shit with his older brother overdosing and dying while he was locked up.
Yeah, that
had an effect on him, didn't it?
Yeah, he was, I guess they were really close or something.
Right.
So.
Well, you said to me earlier that he was in the infirmary for harming himself, and he also had given himself some tattoos. Do you know what those tattoos were of?
Yeah, one was on his chest. I was there when he got that one. It says marooned because he has a fascination with pirates.
Okay.
And then he got a big old P on his, I think it's his right forearm. It might be his left one. It could stand for something. He said it was like the code back in the day, the tattoo that all the pirates had.
Okay.
And then he got something else, and I forget what that was.
All right. Well, that was pretty interesting because people have been wondering for a long time what those tattoos were.
Well, he also has a fascination with burning himself with cigarettes.
Okay.
He would go to the infirmary and stuff for it all the time. I actually got a scar on my arm. I told him once if he drank the rest of this wine, because I didn't think he could do it, that I'd let him burn me in the arm. And then the little shit did it, so I let him burn me in the arm.
How did it feel?
It fucking hurt.
Yeah, cigarette burns fucking hurt, man. I have a few myself. I can attest to that. But, so you have his socks from when he was in the infirmary. Why did he give those to you?
He said they were ugly. They're not the prettiest things. They're gray, and they got these little, like, non-resistant little pads all over them and stuff. They're like old isotoner-looking socks.
Yeah, I'm familiar with, like, the prison-style socks. So, you were, how long were you incarcerated for?
12 years.
12 years. So you've met a lot of people.
Yeah, quite a few.
In those 12 years.
As I told you, my workout partner was Matt Hoffman.
Yeah, the guy who buried the girls in the leaves.
Yeah, well, he didn't bury him in the leaves. His whole house was, he showed me pictures because he's fascinated with nature and he believes some weird shit, how the trees talk to you and stuff. Mm-hmm. But his whole house was full of bags of leaves and stuff. He had a fascination with trees and leaves. He was like a nature buff. And I guess he had the girl in the basement,
right,
doing whatever to her. And then he killed her mom, her friend, and the dog, chopped them up and put them in a hollow tree. But he told me that that's the first time he's ever been caught because he put some people in a tree in Colorado. I guess he was locked up in Colorado. So
he's saying his body count is bigger than what they know.
Yeah, he didn't really he made it sound like he does it as like a sacrifice or something. Some weird shit.
But he was cool to you, right?
Yeah, it was kind of weird because he don't talk to nobody. He's one of them people that he's just by himself all the time. He's just weird. And I think it was a couple Christmases ago or something, around winter time, I just happened to be outside on some high shit, fucking around on the yard, and he was building these big old snowmen and jumping through them, breaking them and rebuilding them. And somehow I got talked into doing it with him. And he's running around in his underwear in fucking 3 feet of snow, jumping through snow. And that's how I got to know him.
But I got to ask you something. Earlier you told me that he's gay now too. Do you think he's gay just for the stay, or do you think he still has an interest in women?
Well, I don't think that the gay for the stay really pertains to him, seeing how he's never getting out of jail. So he's either gay or he's not gay. I don't know. Him and another guy that was down for murder, his name was Buddy Newell, they arranged to be cellies, and they refused to be cellies to anybody else. They fuck up guards and everything if they try to change their living arrangements. And so
they had something going on, the two of them?
They lived right next to me also when I lived on a different hallway.
But you think Clifford and TJ were really in love?
Yeah, I seen them kissing and shit and everything.
Oh, so they were being openly affectionate.
Yeah, in prison, it's like 40% openly gay, 35% that's gay behind closed door and will never admit it.
Right.
So it's just natural. It's just become so natural how flamboyant homosexuality is in prison, to the point where to keep trouble down, the administration will move two people together that are in a so-called relationship.
But what's so confusing to me is it's clear that TJ, Clifford, and Lindsey Bruce were planning this escape for like well over a year. And I just don't understand how nobody caught on.
It was about 10 months. They started a calisthenic regime, and every day at the same time, the three of them in the day room. Got a little warmer out. They trained outside running the tracks, doing push-ups, different stuff. Only a few people knew about it until that very last day. And
so were you just hanging around? Like,
well,
you were getting out, so you weren't going to escape, right?
Fuck, no, I was getting out.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
he let you in on the plan, right?
Yeah, but I actually didn't believe it though.
Right.
You know, a lot of people in prison, you hear that once a week from somebody talking about they found the perfect way they're getting out, this and that.
Right.
So I never knew how they were going to get out. Just the fact that they were building something, not a ladder, just building something. Lindsey Bruce was the brains of it. He made a key pick. They had this, where steam pipes were, this little crawl space in the wall where only the guards had the big keys to. Well, he made the key to open that up. It was a small space, and then he made a candle out of a pop can.
Wow.
And a baby oil, and made a candle, lit it in there, and he'd lock himself in there all day and make this fucking whatever he's making, which come to find out was a big ass ladder. I
mean, I've seen the escape video, and I gotta say, it's not a fucking easy thing to pull off. That was pretty clever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I'm surprised is nobody fucking noticed, or nobody cared, or did anything. You know what I'm saying?
Well, during that time, we just went through 2 wardens. There was a bunch of corrupt shit going on. And so the administration really didn't give a fuck about anything. I mean, some of us was openly just, they would look the other way when we'd sell drugs or tobacco products or whatever with the cadres downstairs and stuff. They really didn't care. If you got drunk, they just locked you in your room and told you to sober up, see you tomorrow. They really didn't give a shit. They weren't giving write-ups. They weren't throwing anyone in the hole. They just, kind of let people do whatever is what you're saying. Well, they threw people in the hole. I mean, and broke people up, but that was usually like people they had a personal vendetta against. They came to work, and both the inmate and the guard would fuck with each other his whole shift. So as long as you didn't bother them, they just slept in the office or played on the computer.
Okay, so what was all, I've been reading all this shit online saying that TJ had behavior problems in prison. What's that all about? Like, I heard something about him just like not they didn't like cooperating. Him. They didn't like him.
They didn't like him. He really didn't do shit, but he would speak his mind too.
Well, so, he's quite intelligent, wouldn't you say so?
Philosophically, yeah.
Philosophically, yeah, sure. But he's young. He's a kid, you know.
Yeah, he has some very I don't know if he understands what he says or not, but like I do a lot of philosophy research and stuff, and some of the stuff he says makes a little bit of sense, even though it's wild and out there.
Well, I've read a few of his actual letters, the authentic ones, not written by you or William Wills. And I've noticed that he just kind of goes back and forth a lot in his opinions. You know what I mean? Like he's
well,
not...
he's still young. You got to understand, he's young. So
right.
We was all like that when he was that age.
Just kind of all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I got from reading his letters. Like, in one letter, he'll say something. In the next letter, he'll contradict it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I read somewhere that he wants to live in nature, and then he just says all kinds of shit, you know?
Yeah, that was their plan, supposedly. Supposedly they were going somewhere down south, and they were... Well, I'll leave that part out. Lindsey Bruce was never supposed to be with them. We'll just say that, if anybody can read between the lines.
Sure, so, Lindsey was just the mastermind and helping them get out, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he was never supposed to make it anywhere.
But now they're all in Ohio State Pen, which is the maximum security, from what I understand. So now they're all locked up for, 23 hours a day, right?
Yeah, but that'll only be for like a year or two. Then they'll drop them down to the next level.
So you think TJ can see Clifford again, is what you're saying?
No, because ultimately Clifford still has to go to Florida. So, and plus, they'll put a separation on them. They'll never be able to see each other again. You
think they're sending kites back and forth?
Oh, they can send mail. There's probably nothing stopping them from sending mail. In Ohio, you can have inmate-to-inmate correspondence. So I'm sure they're probably sending mail to each other. Or they might have just been like, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty... ironically, I was actually in Ohio the night he escaped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was driving across country.
It didn't happen at night. It happened right before count time.
I was there. I was driving through Ohio as it happened.
Yep, September 11th.
And I was, literally looking all over the road thinking, in my paranoid mind that I was going to, see one of them. You know what I mean? It was real weird, though. It was weird. Because, I had been driving cross country for, a week, And, that whole day I was in Ohio. That night I stayed in Ohio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you were anywhere around there, there would have been a chance that you got them.
That's a pretty funny fucking thought, man. That's a funny thought.
I know the guard that was in the patrol car. I talked to her and she said that she was afraid to shoot somebody. That's because I guess once you get over the second fence, they're authorized to kill you.
Yeah.
And that's why she didn't pull her gun out or try to shoot any of them. She said she was scared. She didn't know what she was supposed to do.
Well, she didn't want to kill anyone.
Yeah, but later afterwards, she said she would have at least, if it would have been in the right state of mind, she'd at least killed T.J. Lane because then she'd have gone on the morning news and everything. She said she'd have been a celebrity.
That's fucked up, though, don't you think?
Yeah.
But I don't agree with that. I just don't agree with that.
I don't agree with it either, but prison is different rules.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why at Lebanon, the coach supposedly, or whoever, the guy that claimed that he wrestled him to the ground or stopped him or something, TJ still claims that he didn't do shit but shout, and that's when he ran.
Mm-hmm.
But supposedly he knew somebody that worked at Lebanon Correctional Institution, and the word got around that there was money on his head, and they was trying to get at him. So he was locked in a special cell in their hole with all the cameras on his cell door until he rode out to Allen.
Well, they do that for, like, kind of infamous inmates, right?
Yeah, so you got to understand, most serial killers and stuff like that, and people that's killed like gang leaders and stuff like that. Well, it's status. It's a status up for me if I fuck one of them up. If I fuck one of them around first, it just boosts my whole entire prison status.
Well, you remember Jeffrey Dahmer, right? The serial killer cannibal. He got killed in prison by that dude who smashed his fucking brain in, and he instantly had celebrity because of that.
Yeah.
And
everybody wants. That's why they had to put Mike Tyson in protective custody in Indiana, because every gang member, everybody would be trying to fight him every day so they can say they beat up Mike Tyson.
Right. And it was kind of the same deal for TJ, but TJ's just a kid, and he's not big or buff, right?
Well, yeah, that's at Lebanon. When the gang, I don't know if he was really used to what he was experienced to at Allen, but all the gay dudes were on him as soon as he came in, because for some reason they got a fascination with kids with acne and skinny and little. I mean, it's like every fag's dream to have.
Right.
So they was just showering him with gifts right off the bat.
Well, because he looks like a young, submissive bottom. Am I wrong? Like, he looks like a fuck boy, right?
That's what he ended up turning into, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of his fangirls or girls who, really admired him were really disappointed, and they still don't believe that he's gay.
Well, a lot of people, I don't really want to call it weak-minded to put gay people down, but are not strong enough willfully to suppress their sexual urges over long periods of time. So they give in to homosexuality out of, probably that reason.
Well, William Willis, his old cellie, claimed that TJ even came on to him.
Oh, I
and
doubt
that
that.
TJ was telling him how attractive he was or whatever.
He did have some feminine qualities, but I don't think that's true.
You don't think that's true? I mean, you spent a lot of time with him. I feel like you, out of most people, you really got to be around him. I mean, how do you feel about this whole online fascination with him?
Well, in general, we all have some sort of fascination with death and everything that involves with it. I don't care who you are. You have some sort of fascination with it. So some people's fascination with things are a little bit more passionate than others. Like one person may be passionate with playing guitar, and they take it to the extreme and practice the entire day they're awake until, it's just whatever your passions are, it's really hard to suppress them. So I really don't see nothing wrong with people giving support to people that are in need like that. I mean, I know he would hand pick out which letters to write back and stuff.
Right.
He'd keep all the pictures. Any pictures he got, whether he wrote back or not, that girl sent him, he kept.
He kept them.
He kept every one of them. He never threw them in the trash. He throws family pictures away.
He throws family pictures away, but you don't think he kind of shat on his supporters when he had you or William write them back?
Well,
because a lot of girls heard about that. You know what I mean? But I also see him as such a loner. You know what I mean? I don't see him.
I guess the reason he latched on to me was because I already had myself well known, established, fighting and stuff like that, and had a little team put together, and I liked him. I mean, I showed true interest, and I think he was able to relax and just trust me a little bit. I mean,
he felt safer around you. He felt good having you.
The only time I would have fucked up the guys that supposedly did something to him had I not been in the hole, because I like that kid. I'd have never let that happen. Somebody would end up getting seriously fucked up that night, either myself or them.
You ever have your picture taken with him or no?
No, but somebody sent him a picture once in the mail, asked him to sign it and cut him in on the profit or something, and he got that all the time, but he'd just throw them away. And he said he did it once for somebody or something, and they never gave him shit, so nobody will ever get nothing. And,
right.
Then one day he came in, I don't know if it was a holiday or whatever, and they call me Big Ock because I'm a Muslim and I'm really big.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought in this picture, and he signed it for me, a Polaroid. He put his name on the front, T.J. Lane III or some shit, and then put killer in parentheses. And
that's the picture you sent me, right?
Yeah. He just gave it to me out of the blue. I mean, I was in the cell kicking some guys, shooting dice and getting high and stuff, and you know, he was able to walk in my cell anytime. I always told him, you can get whatever you want to eat. Don't borrow shit from nobody and pay tax.
Okay.
You know, just whatever. Just stay the fuck out of trouble. Here's a little bit of tobacco because we can't smoke. You know,
right.
Here, go outside if you need to and smoke a cigarette. He had a thing about smoking cigarettes. He just fucking chain smoked.
He chain smoked. Yep.
Yeah. So,
what do you think, out of like a nervous habit or just like habit he picked up?
Yeah, I think a nervous habit because
yeah.
I mean, he had to be nervous. He was young. He's never been, you know, around criminals, and he was just uncomfortable, and that was the way he dealt with it.
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, do you think that he's gonna kind of get a new perspective in a few years, kind of grow up a little, maybe?
Yeah, I seen him grow up, you know, the short amount of time that I know him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a smart kid. He's a good kid for real. I think he'll be able to adjust in the future just fine. He just needed some time to get himself together and think.
I don't know if you know this, but he started writing more people back, so maybe that's his way of like reaching out to the outside world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if you only out an hour a day, and when they're out for an hour a day, they're by themselves. They're not
right.
They're not interacting with the other inmates. So, you know, loneliness is a bad thing. Maybe he just started getting lonely.
He actually started writing a friend of mine more frequently, and she orders him books and stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I feel like, I think in a few years, I think he's going to be at a better place than he is now. But, you know, like, I think a lot of his supporters felt really, really hurt that he rejected them. You know what I mean? Because a lot of guys would be fucking happy to hear from fucking 100 girls. You know what I'm saying?
I think he was just overwhelmed with it. What you got to understand is when he got mail, he had his own personal big-ass mail bag almost every single day with like hundreds and hundreds of pieces. And he just wasn't on it. He didn't feel like writing nobody. And then,
yeah.
You know, then the scheme came up to, you know, get him stuff like a TV and stuff because, you know, unfortunately he does have a life sentence and he's not going to be getting fan mail like this 20 years from now.
No.
I was around other serial killers,
you know?
and
cases
they don't
down.
get much.
Right.
So it was, you know, I apologize if I hurt somebody's feelings, but I was trying to help the kid out. And I did. He got TVs, he got boots, he got clothes. He you know, hopefully they let him keep that stuff where he's at in long-term storage from the guy's security drop.
Yeah, I'm sure they transferred his stuff over. I mean, I hope, you know.
Yeah, I hope so, too. I mean, I've given him a few things because, unfortunately, you know, he's got a
running this blog, Stephen, I've got to tell you, like, he did hurt a lot of people's feelings, you know what I mean? And I'm really, really hoping that in a few years he'll be able to embrace the support rather than push it away. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I encourage anybody that's feelings got hurt to just try to reach out again and talk to him. You know, if you spark his interest, he'll probably write you back. If you don't, then you probably won't. But, I mean, I would say, you know, shoot him a letter and try again. I mean, he's in a lonely place right now where he's got to, you know, like a crossroad, figure out what he's got to do for the rest of his life.
Right, and he's got a complicated relationship with his family. He's got a really complicated relationship, from what I've gathered.
Well, he's let me read some mail from home and stuff. His grandma, only person that comes to see him, one, and she just loves him to death, does everything she can for him, and he opens up to her. His dad's just as, it's like his, I don't want to talk bad about the guy, but the stuff he writes his son about video games and drawing little corny pictures and stuff like that, and the context is like, makes me to believe his dad is kind of like, maybe like illiterate or something, maybe, I don't know, but he said that
not on that level, right? Not on that level.
Yeah, because they talked about cats and kittens, because he also has a fascination with cats. He likes the hairless ones from somewhere in Egypt or some shit. That's what he said he wanted to be if he ever died and came back as an animal.
He wanted to be a hairless cat.
Yeah.
Well, one of my friends or someone I know, she sent him a book by Jack Kerouac about living in the wild. So, I hope he appreciated it. I don't know. But, I just hope that, hope that he'll start to appreciate it. That's all.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, even if you don't appreciate it, at least you can say that you did something good for somebody in need.
Right. So, and you knew him, so what do you think about girls writing him letters and coming on really strong, asking too many questions or being really invasive? From what I've got, he don't like that, right?
He don't like long letters and shit. Like some of them he'd open up and stuff and be like, "Oh, what the fuck?" It'd be 8-9 pages long, front and back, and so those usually hit the trash because nobody even wanted to invest the time to read that much shit.
No, this is all really good to know because, in a lot of ways, he's like a mystery to a lot of these people, you know what I mean? And I think people don't understand that when they bombard him with mail, it just turns him off.
Well, you can also only do so much writing, too, especially when you got to think. And when you're in prison alone, you tend to think a lot more. You would think you would just have all the time in the world to do whatever, but when it's just you and them walls, you tend to think a lot more about things.
Oh, I know.
Day after day.
My brother was in federal prison. I know. I know.
I spent a year in the hole once for assaulting a guard, and all by myself. And I love to read educational stuff, so I always had books sent to me. And it got to a point where I couldn't even read my own books, let alone mail. And I don't get mail but from a couple people. Where I just always have something on my mind, thinking, stressing.
How would you feel if you fucking got bags of mail from obsessed girls? Would you be overwhelmed?
Yeah, I'd be overwhelmed.
So, this is a high-profile case. This is a young dude who's still not really in tune with his sexuality getting a fucking shit ton of mail, So obviously he's going to be overwhelmed.
I think at some point, maybe at first, when he was getting them in the county and stuff, maybe he thought it was cool then. But, imagine getting 250 letters from people a day, day after day, months after months. Eventually it's like getting an advertisement. You're like, man, fuck this, and just throw it all in the trash. Right.
Well, that's what I thought. He's been writing someone I know kind of consistently through every prison he's been in. But it's not super long letters, But, he appreciates her support, yet still questions her motives type of deal. He's paranoid.
Yeah.
He
has every right to be. He had, like I said, unfortunately he hasn't had a good prison experience. So.
Right.
So he has every right to be paranoid.
Well, you're a big guy, so you could defend yourself. Am I right?
Yeah, for the most part. We all take L's. Nobody has ever been in a fight can say that they've never lost a fight.
Right.
Nobody's invincible.
But him, on the other hand, I don't see him coming into it and being able to, stand on his own right away, Well,
I tried to teach him how to box. Me and another guy did. And he's really uncoordinated, and he got himself in shape before their little escape. But before, he had little baby arms. He looked like a 13-year-old kid.
Sure, I've seen pictures, and I'm a boxer myself, so I know the look. My brother's a boxer. I'm a boxer, so I know. I remember my brother teaching me how to box. I felt very uncoordinated, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to defend myself either, you know?
Well, I'd never let nothing happen to him on my watch, and I still wouldn't this day if I ever went back to prison and met up with him, no matter how fucked up people think he is. I think he's a really good kid, and the only thing I have to offer people in this life is my loyalty. So if I give that to somebody, I take that all the way to the end, no matter what the circumstances are.
You know, he mentioned that his shooting was more of a sexual fantasy, but I don't believe that.
He told me that there was only one actual target, and it was somebody that continuously bullied him, and that I don't know if it's true he shot a chick, but somebody he shot, he felt remorse for. And then everybody else, he was like, I don't give a fuck.
Right, but the main dude that he said bullied him, that dude is dead now, right?
Yeah.
And
he said he thought about it all night. I guess
people think that it was about a girlfriend, though. Do you believe that?
He never said anything to me about it, so I don't know. I mean, maybe he was lying to me the whole time and just, having fun playing with my mind. I don't know. You can never truly tell what's true and what's not true.
Well, I think he's too young to fully comprehend, even, to himself, what's true or not true. I think he's still trying to figure it out. But, in my heart of hearts, I do think he's gay, and that's fine. I'm not, I'm gay. I have a girlfriend, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that, if he was in this kind of relationship with Clifford where they were kissing openly, to me that says that he found his calling, you know what I mean? That's what he was. He's gay,
Yeah.
And maybe he couldn't express himself in his small town in Ohio, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I never really thought of it like that.
Maybe he felt, stifled and fucking suffocated in a small town, and he couldn't express himself.
Well, I know he's real big in fantasy role playing and Pokemon games and stuff like that. And he said,
I heard about the Pokemon. Yep.
He said that no other kids really, that's why they picked on him and stuff. No other kids that were around and stuff really enjoyed stuff like he did. So I think he felt alienated.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he picked up some kind of psychological disability over it. Maybe he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But, it has to be hard living as an outcast your entire life.
Yeah, right. And now he's spending the rest of it in prison.
Yeah. So
he's got to find his own way now.
Yeah, now he's got to find how to deal with life in a more positive manner considering his circumstances.
You think you're going to write him or no?
I was wanting to. I needed to find out if he can get JPay stuff.
He can.
Okay, I'd rather send him an email than an actual paper.
I don't know if he can check his JPay. Do you feel me? But I know he can get funds, is what I mean. I don't know if he can get access to the JPay kiosk at this point, not in OSP,
Okay, then. Yeah, I was planning on sending him a Christmas card regardless.
You should.
There's a couple guys that I stay in contact with that call me and stuff from prison that are doing a lot of time. Not everybody in prison is bad people. Just a lot of people make mistakes. There's a lot of people who make mistakes out here and never get caught.
I know.
So
yep.
You never know who you meet. Your next door neighbor may be a serial killer and he's just real clever.
Right. Or it may be just someone who fucked up.
Yeah.
And who could never, who won't reoffend again. You know what I mean?
Well, his opinion on that is that he says that all through modern history, they've been trying to lock up and kill people with aggressive personality and gene traits, like serial killers and stuff that once would have been notorious, like army people back in the day. That society is trying to weaken the genetic gene pool by locking up and executing people that have crimes like that rather than let them rehabilitate themselves.
Do you think that if he ever got out, he would kill someone again?
No, I don't.
No. So this was a very specific crime, is what you're telling me.
He knew what he was doing. That's exactly what he wanted to do. For whatever reason this kid, did or didn't do, he did something to push his kid over the brink of no return to where he was willing to jeopardize his entire life at a young age.
And you don't know the name of this exact kid, do you?
No, I don't. I never really paid attention because I really didn't. I mean, I'm not trying to sound awful or anything, but I really didn't even give a fuck about who he killed or anything like that. Because
sure.
you meet so many different people with murder cases in prison on a daily basis.
Well, shit, you were hanging out with Donald Harvey and Matthew Hoffman.
I've always had a fascination with people with horrendous crimes. I like to know their psychological thinking. I sit for hours and talk to them and let them express themselves. And I'm learned how to be very manipulative, and I just throw suggestions out there and see if they take the bait and run with it. I'm fascinated by what makes them do what they do.
Well, that's me too. I've been corresponding with killers for over 6 years now. And I've corresponded with probably hundreds at this point. And what interests me is their brain. What makes them do what they do? Why?
If you ever get a chance to befriend one of them to where they trust you enough for you to go see them, you should go see them and a couple times and let them get comfortable and talk to you.
Buddy, I have. I was at an execution.
Oh, you were?
Yep, in Missouri. Joseph Paul Franklin.
Wow.
You know who that is?
No, but
he was a spree killer, but also racist. So it was racially motivated. And he actually shot Larry Flint, who makes Hustler magazine, and paralyzed him.
Yeah, his daughter just died last year of a car wreck.
Yep.
They're from here in Dayton.
I was at Joseph's execution. I spent the whole day with him before he died.
Wow, that's awesome.
And he told me his whole life story. He told me about his mother and about what she put him through and about, and that was what was really interesting to me. It's where you came from, your roots, what made you the way you are today. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I feel
exactly.
you. And I really, honestly, I thank you for telling me all this. This is great. And you don't mind if I share this on my blog, do you?
No, I don't mind.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this call now. I'm going to call you back in 1 minute. I'm not going to record that because I want to talk to you about something else. Is that cool with you? Thank you so much. And I actually want to do more interviews with you because you have a lot of stories to tell, I feel.
Well, just get with me like you have been. We'll try to arrange something.
I like that.
So, like I told you, I'll help you out any way I can and your fans and stuff like that. If I can give anybody any insight, just have them ask you, and if I can answer it, I'll answer it. If I can, I can.
All right. I like that. Thank you so much for speaking to me.
All right. Well, you have a good evening.
You too. You take care.
All right.